Good morning, traders. Chris Buzz here with your pre-market prep for Friday, May 7th. Taking a quick look at futures, everything is pretty much in a holding pattern ahead of the big jobs report this morning that I think breaks at 8:30. From what I've been seeing and hearing, the over-under number is 1 million new jobs added in April. So we'll see if that meets expectations, what happens with the market reaction, etc., etc., etc. I have no idea which way it's going to go. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, we'll find out, right, how to close the week. So the only thing that's really moving this morning, I mean, gold's up just a little bit, had a nice day yesterday, and copper's up 1.8%. So it continues its pace. Let's look at the charts. I've got a big deck for you this morning, so I'm going to try to pick up the pace. SPY 2-hour, morning weakness, came into our 414 pivot, which we identified. That offered a great opportunity, and then had a very strong back half of the day. We had this 416.75 identified as an important level. It was able to power through that. Now that level becomes support. That's why I've changed it from red to green. And you'll recall that there was an open gap in this area from this gap down the other day. That has since been filled. So for today, we're essentially right back where we started after the weakness. So for me, price needs to hold 418. That's what we said back here. And then it needs to break 420. If it can break 420, it'll recapture this uptrend line and then should be off to the races. If it comes back down and breaks below this 416.75, I think it's coming back to 414 pretty quickly, because that would look like another, fake breakout kind of move. So I think 418 is your pivot for today. Taking a look at the 30-minute chart, here was that initial weakness that I talked about a minute ago. Came right into this 414 level and actually gave quite a few candles to buy there. We had a first tag, then came back again, and then after that it was gone. This would have been kind of your last chance to buy right in here on that pullback into 416. But notice it took out this 417.5, which had stopped at price the last couple tries. Then it went on up, filled the gap, and now we're sitting here near all-time highs. Qs are still weak. The opening gap from the other day has not nearly been filled yet. We came down and tested this gap as we did the other day. Here was the first test. We bounced up, came back for another test, and then bounced into the close. And so, for active traders, what we always say, the tops and the bottoms of gaps are really important. So if you were in the middle of this yesterday, seeing that top gap hold again would have been a buying clue, plus the fact that there was a double bottom from the other day. So the bears just didn't have any horsepower to push it down, close that gap, and then come into 324, which was one of our active scenarios. So for today, let's look at the 30-minute chart. It's a lot clearer. So for today, I think if we break 332, which was the high for the other day, I think we come up here and test the bottom of this gap at 334. And then if we punch through, I think 335, then 336. So I think this 332 will be a nice pivot for today. If it comes up here and rejects, then I think we're coming back to 330 and probably, I mean, I have to say that would be a bearish development. Probably come back here and test 327 yet again. That may not all happen today. All I'm saying is for the bulls to kind of reassert themselves, they need to take out 332. IWM, nice reach down on the first candle of the day to tag this trend line. And, you know, it makes me, there's a sense of satisfaction. I mean, if you're a technician, you know what I mean. When candles reach down to a line that you had drawn a month ago and reverse off it, I mean, that kind of makes you feel good that you had a good location there. So anyways, came right up to this 223. That's your pivot for today. Above 223, we take out the downtrend line here, and then there's an opportunity to run up to 225 and then fill the gap to 226. So I think there's definitely reason to buy above 223. Look for that $2 move and then a gap fill. I'm sure at that point we've got a big green day on our hands with SPY and QQQ, probably green as well. So I wouldn't discount the chance that this could fill that gap today if it's a strong day. On the downside, you'd be back in the triangle, back testing 220.50, and then down here on this trend line and 219. Here's the 30-minute chart. You see the double bottom here at 219. Great buying opportunity. Came in, took out this resistance level at 221.50, and then poked its head up above the downtrend line, but still below 223. And as we said before, you pop 223, then you're looking for 224, 225, and 226 on the upside. If you're new here, thanks for spending some time with me this morning. I put a lot of effort in finding these levels for you so you can work on your execution and trading around them. Hit the subscribe button and the alarm bell. That way you won't miss a beat going forward on the information that I published on YouTube. And I'd certainly appreciate it if you jump over to the show notes where you'll find a link to register for all my content. That way you'll get everything in your email box that I publish morning, noon, or night. A lot of intraday updates, trade ideas that are sent out that never make their way to YouTube. It would be nice to capture that information. And also you get a invite to the trading room. And of course, longtime subscribers, really appreciate your hanging in here. I hope you're having some good trading in and around these levels, and let's keep it going. Please hit the like button and leave me a nice comment. And if you want to go the extra mile for me, pass along a link to someone in your trading group that may benefit from the work. Okay, Facebook. Another double bottom here at 313. And then the lift today. It's all about recapturing this bracket level at 321.61. If it can pop above there, your target's going to be back up at 331. That would be a great place to make a buy if you did not get in here at 313. So set an alarm at 321.61. I think that's your buying location. The flip side of a pivot is always, if it gets rejected, then back down, but that's your level. Apple was able to take out this 128.50, gave a nice lift. Now today, 130.25 at this prior high. If it can break above that, then the next big level is 131.50 at the bottom of this range. Now, unlike Facebook and some of the other ones, this has a lot of overhead resistance right here. That's this 131.50 is not going to be a walk in the park, I don't think, because of all this trading that has happened. What you may see, don't forget, I don't even have it drawn in here. I should have done that. You do have a gap to fill between 131.50 and 132.50. So be ready for that and a potential rejection at that level. There is a lot of overhead resistance here, and I wouldn't be surprised if the market is not all that strong, if Apple is able to come up here to 131.50, but then not be able to close that gap short term. We'll have to watch that one. Tesla came back down, came down to 650, tagged the downtrend channel as it did here and here, bounced up to 670, which is our pivot, and then was rejected even though it had a nice closing candle. 670 remains the pivot. It's been simple, it's worked, continue to use it. Above you can be long, below favor lower prices. Microsoft, look at that final candle there. I believe yesterday price tested this 245 level, which we said on yesterday morning that was the prior breakout level, that it was very important. Makes sense that would have held. That was a great swing trade entry kind of location for even a longer duration type trade. It held the breakout level, breakout, back test, and now took out the downtrend channel and this 49.25. Today, even if you weren't in it yesterday, I think you can stay long against 49.25 and then look for 254. That would be a nice trade in itself. If it broke that, then it'll come up to challenge this gap at 256. Amazon, free 50 club again. Came down and tested this 32.50 on the open, and then right back up to 3,300, fulfilling the free 50 club target. $50 increments. Continue to use them. 3,300 your pivot for today. 3,350 your target, with a gap to fill above. Google came down, tested 2,300, and then popped back up to 2,340. Today, 2,353 is your upside pivot. If it can break above that, recapture the prior trading range, then your target is going to be 2,430 at the opposite side of the box. You may see a hesitation here at 2,390, but other than that, if it breaks back into this box, I think you're going back up to the top. Netflix Daily had a little undercut yesterday of this key support area, then popped back above. I think you can be long against 495. Let's look at the 60-minute chart real quick. Yeah, here was the undercut down here, and then it popped back. I take back that last comment. I mean, if you got long down here, that's fine. You can stay long. But for new traders, a pop above 500 here will put it back in the box, and then your target will be 507.50 and then 515. And if the market reasserts itself and goes higher, then you'd be into this big $35 gap up to 550. So 500 would be a real nice entry for even longer term traders, and then you can set your stop just below and see how high price can take it. I want to go through the metals real quick. We had a big day yesterday in gold. We had talked about gold being pinned under the 200, broke above that, nice impulsive candle, did not limp through with a little, baby wimpy candle, big power candle. Now a big line is 171. Needs to take that out to get up to 174. Don't get all frustrated and lose yourself if there's a little hesitation here at 171 or even a bit of a pullback. As long as it holds the 200 at 168, I think we're fine. The breakout's intact. So let's see where it can go from here. Jumping over to the gold miners. Came right back up to the prior high here at 37. I think if you're not in it, I think you see a break above 37, you buy it. Set your stop just below, and then look for 39.50. If you get a pullback into 36, I think you can buy that as well at, back testing this breakout, and then set a stop just below 36. Either way, I think gold is going higher, but in case we're wrong, that's what stops are for, right? Rand gold was one of our trade ideas. Right back up to resistance. I think this is a nice buy on a breakout. Looking for 126 as a first target. Kirkland Lake. I'm personally in this one. We had bought down here looking for a move up to the 200 and the downtrend line, and we got that move. So here's what I'm thinking. I have May expiring contracts, so that's 2 weeks. We're right here against dual resistance, the downtrend line and the 200. I got to see this pop pretty quickly to hold on to my calls. If I see this hesitating or even pulling back a little bit, what I may do, what I likely will do, is just close out this win and then make price prove it. Make price break out above the 200 and then reinitiate the long. Look for 43. At that point, gold should be well on its way. And I think these resistance levels up here would be much more apt to be broken through than right here where you've got two levels working against you. So that's just some thinking on Kirkland Lake. Notice though, we've broken above the zero line on PPO. That's a bull signature. And we've broken above on RSI. So you can see here, RSI was in bear country below the zero line this whole time. Now this is a change of character. A break above 50, a back test of 50, and then a bounce higher. So bear to bull transition, that looks good. Same thing on momentum, below the zero line the whole time, and now we've broken above. So we've got confirmations all over the place that this wants to go higher, but price is the final arbiter. Got to take out the 200 in the downtrend line to make further progress. Wheat and precious metals. This is primarily a silver miner. If you're not in it, I think you buy a breakout into 44 and then look for 47, 46, 47 as a first target. But you can see this is a big value area below 43.50. You get a break above that, it gets a lot easier. Yes, you'll have resistance levels, but it's not like down here where there's been tons and tons of trading. So by the breakout, I think gold and silver are going higher, and the breakout here would be confirmation of that. All right, looking at a few of these other names that have been floating around out there that some of you may be trading. Skyworks, if you were short from back here, you got a good move. Hopefully you covered down here, but if you didn't, you got to cover here on a break back above 176. And if you're a bull, or even if you're an active trader, a break back above 176 would target 180. You can see this large volume over price resistance bar. You break above that, then you come up to 180. Cirrus, we talked about the big gap. We talked about the back test of the gap entry. You got that yesterday. You can be long against 75 and see if you don't get this big gap fill. But so far, so good on starting a gap fill, breakout, back test that held, and a big closing candle. So maybe this will fill the gap. Anything below 75, you got to get out. Peloton, we got this big move, fortunate. We talked about getting out before earnings yesterday. So hopefully you were able to close out, somewhere between 80 and 81 or 82. I think it traded up after hours. What you can do is wait for this bounce to peter out, and I think it will. And then we'll look to re-enter this short, maybe up towards 90, and then see if we get follow through back down to 80 and lower. You can see I dropped in the targets on this big head and shoulders, and it's way down here at 60. So I think it's going lower, but there's no reason to jump the gun. We can either try to short it up here when the bounce runs its course, or simply wait for 80 to break and then get back aboard. Pinterest, good move down here at support. To take the next leg lower, we got to see 57.50 break. Really weak price action, so I think it goes lower. I would trail your stop down to the 200. If it recaptures the 200, I would exit the position. All right, couple commodities. This Hudson Bay Mines is breaking out. I like it long. I am long, and looking for this to go higher. You can set your stop just below. We tried it back here. I just held through all this, so I'm still in. If you took a stop there, here's your place to re-enter. I think it goes higher. As I let you know, I am in sugar. Breakout, back test, go. I think it's going higher. Coffee, monster week. 9%. I'm in calls. Coming up here to resistance at 44.50. That'll be a big level. What I may do, and I'll let you know if I do it, is to roll those 40 calls higher up to 45, and then see if it can make a push up towards 50. But it'll have some tougher sledding with a resistance level here, resistance level at 47, and then the prior highs at 50. And I want to point out, let me see if I can do that for you real quick. Let me find a coffee chart. Do I got a monthly? I'm sorry. Yeah, here's the view that I wanted to show you. Coffee has been in a 10-year bear market. It was up here at $3 back then, and it's come all the way down, was at 90 cents recently, and now we're breaking out. The point that I wanted to make here is you can't see the big picture on a daily or even weekly chart where it looks like 150 is like the end, on that ETF it is, because it wasn't created until just a few years ago. But on the big picture, coffee can still double from here. It was $3, and not saying it happens immediately, but this looks like a big base down here and a breakout to me. And I think you get above this 167 area, then you're going to 210. And when you put it in perspective like that, there's a lot of room to the upside. So I like coffee, at least at this point. Okay, let's wrap it up. A lot of information this morning. Let's see how that big jobs number does at 8:30 and see if the market reacts one way or another. Have a good day of trading. Have a good weekend. And I'll talk to you next time. This has been Chris Buss with Trader's Profit Compass.